Neuropsychological screening battery tests. We're going to be talking about screening batteries. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the R-bands, namely because that's one of my favorites, and it's the one that I'm most familiar with, and it's the one I own. But I'm also going to touch on these just so that you know what they are. All of these are screening batteries, meaning that they look at all of the different domains that we talked about earlier in one quick, less than an hour setting. Okay. So the R-bands, that's what it looks like over there too, is good for ages 20 to 89. So it's only for adults, guys. And it's about 20 to 30 minutes to administer in its entirety. It's a neurocognitive battery with 4 alternate forms. That's important. We like the parallel forms because if we want to test and then retest them a few weeks, a few months later, just to compare between the two, then that's a great thing to have. That's another reason why I like the R-bands. Its 2 primary applications. It was first designed really to look at, to be a standalone test to look at dementia. It was a core battery that looked at all the different characteristics, not all of the different characteristics, but many of the different characteristics of dementia. It has since become a brief neuropsych cognitive battery for detecting other things, such as deficits due to head injury, and a broad array of different deficits. So that's why it's one of my favorites. There are other tests, though, that are out there. This test, which is the Neuropsychological Impairment Scale, is good for ages 18 to 88. It takes only 15 to 20 minutes. It's got 5th grade reading level, and it's all self-report. So there's an observer report, a senior interview, and a self-report that consists of about 95 questions, and they look at different areas such as frustration tolerance, memory, academic skills, verbal learning, affect distortions, inconsistencies, that sort of thing. It's a good test, and it's mostly true-false test. So the quick, or the, I'm sorry, not the quick test, the QNST, it is quick neurological screening test. This one's actually good for children. So if any of you who are doing neuropsych screening with children, this would be the one to use. It's good for ages 5 to 90. And it's 20 to 30 minutes long, and it has different tests that look at motor ability. It also argues that it's good for ruling out, or at least looking at, learning disabilities and combat-related injuries in addition to stroke and dementia. It requires people to have motor skills, though. I would say all of these tests are probably good for combat. I think that they're just trying to sell more of their test, and that's why they're listing themselves as good for combat. The other one down here is the brief neuropsychological cognitive exam. It's for ages 18 and up, again, less than 30 minutes, and it looks at all of the different areas that we've been talking about. There's another one that's been recently brought to my attention. Thank you. Called the Neurosci. This is actually available through Pearson. It does have a testing, a scoring system. But just Googling it came up with this. If you speak Spanish, there you go. That's a great little screening measure for Spanish-speaking people. and it looks at orientation, attention concentration, language, memory, visual motor, executive functioning, reading, writing, and calculations. But again, it is a screener. It's for, it takes about an hour to administer, and it's also good for ages 6 to 85. So if you have a monolingual Spanish-speaking child, that might be a good screener. Also has 2 different levels of education. There are other screening tests that are really good that look at there's other more extensive tests, not screeners, that go into a lot more detail about the different domains. Everyone's heard of Halstead right hand. Everyone's heard of Lura, Nebraska. The up-and-coming child is the Neuropsychological Assessment Battery, the NAB, and it's a really good test. It might be something that I get my hot little hands on soon. And then the Neurosci is also good. It's actually the Neurosci 2 has come out, and the Neurosci is good for children. It's ages 3 to 16, and It's also available from Pearson, and it looks at all the different domains we were talking about, in addition to things like social perception.